tonight.
Enjoy every day. You never know when it's going to end. And tell the people you love them.
Tributes pour in for former Saskatchewan Roughriders president Jim Hopson. We'll tell you why a Saskatchewan First Nation refuses to lift a decade-old boil water advisory. And we hear about the success of a hockey camp named for the youngest victim of the Humboldt Broncos bus crash.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, April 3rd, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, I'm Ethan Williams in for Sam McKeag. Thanks for joining us tonight. A Saskatchewan Roughriders legend has died. Former Riders president and CEO Jim Hopson leaves behind a lasting legacy in the organization, the sport of football, and the province as a whole. Alexander Kwan has the story.
People are connected, they're invested in the team. I mean, we could be in Toronto, and they would love to have that kind of passion.
Jim Hopson is being remembered today as the man who brought Rider Nation to the nation. In Saskatchewan, the Riders are more than just a football team. They're a culture. Hopson was a big part of changing how people viewed the Rough Riders in the early 2000s. Hopson died yesterday after a battle with colon cancer. He was 73 years old.
When you first met him, you thought, scary, scary guy. But once you heard him laugh and you started dealing with him, you realized what a good man he was. And that's the reason he was successful. He was honest, no BS about him, but he had a good sense of humor and never took himself too seriously, but always took everything around him very seriously.
Kind words for Hopson have poured in from organizations and even politicians. Hopson was born and raised in Regina, and he played high school football at Tom Collegiate and junior football with the Regina Rams. Hopson even suited up as a member of his hometown team from 1973 to 1976. He would eventually return to the Rough Riders, becoming the organization's first full-time CEO and president in 2005. He led the Rough Riders for a decade, into 4 Grey Cups. They'd win 2 of them, including in Regina in 2013. And while success on the field brought championships, it's not the legacy Hopson believed he'd leave behind.
I felt for a long time that the team was much loved and very well supported, but we kind of had low expectations about what we could do.
Hopson's time at the Rough Riders stabilized the business side of the organization. The team would become a merchandising powerhouse, outselling all of the other CFL teams combined, and eventually help lay the groundwork for the Riders' new home. Mosaic Stadium may be one of his biggest achievements, and that legacy will live on here.
I spoke to him about 10 days ago, and he was still talking, I think it's going to be a good season. And the sad part is he wanted to see one more game this year under the new administration. It's about the only thing he didn't accomplish.
He will also be remembered as an advocate for cancer screenings, and said things could have been different if his colon cancer had been caught sooner.
Enjoy every day. You never know when it's going to end. And tell the people you love them. Tell them you appreciate them. And, try to be good to people, I guess, and appreciate them. And you'd be surprised how it comes back to you.
Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
We now know the identities of the 4 people who were killed in a murder-suicide in Newdorf last month. An obituary published today names 4 members of one family. Joanne and Gary Bender were named as the parents who were killed, along with their sons Corey, who was 30, and Andrew, who was 34. At the time, police confirmed a 34-year-old killed 3 people, then died of self-inflicted injuries. It happened at this farm in Neudorf, about 115 kilometers northeast of Regina, on March 23rd. There will be a private family funeral on Friday. Regina's North Central neighborhood is getting a new affordable multi-unit apartment complex. The project is being funded in part by the federal government's Action Plan on Housing. When it's finished, this apartment complex in the 1000 block of Angus Street will have 30 affordable units. Rental housing is considered affordable when it costs no more than 30% of a person's income. The building will also have a community center and a community laundromat on the main level.
What you see behind me is more than a building. It represents sustainable and transformative opportunities for the many individuals and families who will live with us here. It represents collective action, and it is a testament of what's possible when we collaborate across sectors and governments to invest in the safety and well-being of our communities.
The federal government also announced another $15 billion into similar projects across the country, bringing the total spending to $55 billion. A new training program aims to give pharmacists in the province more prescribing power, and the University of Saskatchewan's College of Pharmacy and Nutrition will be running the pilot. The training will give pharmacists the ability to prescribe and manage medication for a variety of chronic conditions. That includes asthma, diabetes, heart failure, and more. But the province is still determining which pharmacists will be given the authority to do so.
We are hoping that rural pharmacies, smaller towns across Saskatchewan really embrace this and uptake, have some uptake, but we actually don't know. We won't have a deciding factor in that.
About 20 practicing pharmacists will take part in training early next year. They should be ready to start prescribing next spring. Pipikasi's Cree Nation has been under a boil water advisory for a decade now. The federal government wants the First Nation to lift it, but band leaders say that won't happen unless some major and expensive changes are made. Louise Big Eagle has more.
Pipikasi's Cree Nation says every home in the community needs to have access to clean water. There are 154 homes on the reserve, and only 22 of them have water lines connecting them directly to this water treatment plant. The band's director of capital and community infrastructure says just because they have a water treatment plant doesn't mean they have clean water.
And the water that we deliver to the other homes, it's called an open system. So we may be making perfect water at the water treatment plant, but as soon as you put it into a truck, it's considered contaminated. Then we drive down the road with that water, and then we drop it into a cistern which holds a lot of bacteria.
The federal government says it will only fully fund new water lines if homes are less than 30 meters away from the water treatment plant. But most homes on Pipikasis are not that close, meaning the upgrade could cost the band nearly $9 million. Headman Blaine Panay, an elder in the community, says he and others have gotten sick from unclean water. The federal government has promised clean water to all First Nations communities in Canada, but Panay says that promise is being ignored.
We have to become, I don't know how do you say it, bottom of the totem pole when it comes to looking after our people. Because like you said, we were here first. Why is this is not our land, but we asked to share this land, and yet we have to suffer for it.
Panay hopes one day all community members can access clean water through the taps in their homes. But until then, he will continue to speak up for his people until unkept promises are made. Louise Big Eagle, CBC News, Pipikasis Cree Nation.
A Saskatoon organization is doing what it can to help the city's most vulnerable by gathering dozens of people this afternoon in Saskatoon's core neighborhood. This pop-up soup kitchen was put together by Straight Up, a Saskatoon organization that helps people leave gang life and begin healing. Members of Straight Up served soup, coffee, and bannock, and also treats for the kids who lined up. Organizers say they're passionate about supporting community members who are in need.
We decided we would gather up together some donations and some goods and treats and snacks, and we made soup. We got some bannock together, sandwiches, and we are just handing it out to the community. Like I said, coming together in a good way. We wanted to do something good.
The organizers say they are a small group of people, but they want to do what they can to support people who are struggling. 2 wheelchair basketball players from Regina are hoping to go for gold this summer. They've been named to the Canadian National Senior Men's Wheelchair Basketball Team. Nick Gonchin and Garrett Ostepchuk are the only 2 players from Saskatchewan to make the 12-man squad. Gonchin now lives in Calgary and is excited to head to the games. He says having Ostepchuk also taking part is pretty special.
I remember G when he was 10 years old and walked into the gym. Did I think he was going to be on the men's Canadian wheelchair basketball team with me competing at this tournament or at the Paralympics or anything like that? To be honest, no. Is it a great feeling? Yes, absolutely. It's so great to have representation from such a small province that really doesn't produce a ton of athletes when you compare it to some of these other bigger provinces like Ontario, BC, or Quebec.
Gonchin says he loves being on a team that may be considered underdogs but are ready to win. The team is gearing up for a tournament in France later this month in the hopes of qualifying for this year's Paralympics. Those take place in Paris starting in August. Well, Wascana Lake might still be frozen, but it is warm enough for shorts. Even the geese don't seem to mind the ice in these temperatures. And the ice will probably keep thawing these next few days, but in some parts of our province, it'll be a little too rainy for barbecuing. Weather specialist Riley Laychuk has our mixed bag forecast when we come back. Welcome back. Well, what a difference a month makes. You may remember on March 3rd, the province was walloped with a huge snowstorm. Cities came to a standstill while people dug out for days. Now, spring is here and people are not mad about it.
Oh, it's a great day. Beautiful. We were visiting from the Yukon, so that makes it even more special.
Mostly just getting out walking and doing summer stuff now.
Ooh, we were just talking about soon to be able to play pickleball outside. So that's very exciting, as we usually play indoors. So we'll be able to play pickleball soon.
Yeah, lunchtime walks. This is the best. Gets you through the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
We started when it was a little cooler, but now we're just embracing the warmer weather for sure. No mitts.
The weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. Customer Appreciation Month is on now.
And it was indeed a gorgeous one through the province today, but also a little windy at times. You can see that on our tower cam pointed toward Mosaic Stadium in Regina, where things are shaking a little bit out there. Still 14 degrees in the city, though. And our weather specialist, Riley Laychuk, joins us now. I agree with that last lady, Riley. Yeah. No mitts. Did not need those today.
No mitts, and yes, borderline shorts weather. I call it shorts weather. I don't know about you, but yeah, I'll pull out the shorts anytime the temperature gets above, say, 15 degrees or so. Yes, look at today's highs, and you can really see where the jet stream is allowing some of that warmer air to flood into the province. And yes, hitting over 20 degrees in extreme southern parts of the province. Assiniboia getting to 21, Outlook 21 today as well, and Maple Creek at 20. In contrast, Yorkton, Hudson Bay barely getting over 4 and 11 degrees today. So yes, some cooler air back to the east, and we will see a warmer day again tomorrow. Some unofficial records that I've just kind of put together for you here for the evening today. So Lucky Lake getting to almost 21 degrees. That's breaking a record from 98. Elbow, Rockland breaking more recent records, and a couple of honorable mentions. Maple Creek about half a degree off a record from 1933, and Assiniboia a few degrees off of that record from 1992. So some places, yes, looks like record-breaking heat. Others, as I said, honorable mentions, and we're still seeing some fairly warm temperatures. For northern Saskatchewan, even seeing some of those 5-degree temperatures right now. It's about seasonal for this time of the year, but yes, we still have this warm pocket of air in south and central sections, keeping us nice and warm as we head into the evening hours at the moment. A little bit of cloud, not a lot of cloud, but we do have a little bit of precipitation traveling through northern parts of the province. This will push to the east and to the north as we get to the night tonight. Not a lot in terms of accumulation, but it's this system here that we're keeping an eye on as we get into the day on Thursday. So you can see as we hit 9 a.m. tomorrow, yes, a warm front pushes through. That gives parts of southern Saskatchewan, Assiniboia, Swift Current, maybe even as far to the east or west of Maple Creek, getting mostly a rain. But Kindersley could get some of that snow or some mixing that does push further to the north as we get through the day into Friday, and does, yes, give us a bit of a snow event into the later part of Friday for parts of northern Saskatchewan. So temperatures as we head into the day on Thursday, we are looking at by about lunchtime, even 9-10 degrees for Regina and Assiniboia, but Kindersley only at 1. So yes, could be more of a snow event for western parts of the province, and getting up to 18 in Assiniboia tomorrow. So looking at accumulations, looking at about 5-millimeter mark or so through Saskatchewan, Prince Albert. Could see some higher amounts as we get through into the western parts of Saskatchewan. And yes, traced to about 5 centimeters for the north. Looking at your forecast, could see some windy conditions through Regina, even through Saturday, winds gusting up to about that 40 mark, and temperatures staying in the double digits. Saskatoon, 4 degrees tomorrow, then back into the double digits for Saskatoon as well. And mainly sunny skies, Ethan, as we head into the day, into next week as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Riley.
You're welcome.
We'll be back after the break. A powerful 7.2 magnitude earthquake has rocked Taiwan. At least 9 people are dead and more than 1,000 are hurt or missing. Rescue efforts are continuing through the night. CBC's Cameron McIntosh has the latest.
In Wallian, worried onlookers watch as rescue workers pull people from a 5-story building, resting precariously at a near 45-degree angle. Taiwan's president-elect on scene, saying the priority is fully on rescue. We need to find out how many people are still trapped, he says. Those injured should be given quality medical treatment. Taiwan's government says a 7.2 magnitude earthquake hit off the east coast just before 8 a.m., rocking the island. In Wallian, near the epicenter, at least 26 buildings collapsed. That's where searchers are looking for trapped residents. While on other parts of the island, including the capital, Taipei, buildings and bridges shook. An earthquake hasn't happened in a long time, says this woman. It was terrifying. The quake hit during live newscasts. Along the eastern coast, it caused landslides and prompted tsunami warnings, which have since been called down. Taiwan's government says resources, including military, are being sent to areas hardest hit. Full extent of the damage is being assessed. One concern is damage to Taiwan's world-leading semiconductor industry, which could impact global supply chains. Meanwhile, officials warn residents should be ready for aftershocks. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Former Conservative Party leader Erin O'Toole testified today at a public inquiry into foreign interference. It's investigating allegations of meddling by China in the last 2 federal elections. O'Toole said interference may have resulted in his party losing as many as 9 seats in the 2021 campaign, and he believes it could have cost him the party's leadership.
The small number of seats would not have impacted the minority government that Canada has right now. But the difference of 2, 3, 5 seats may have allowed me more of a moral justification to remain as leader.
O'Toole said the party's polling didn't match the final results in 2021, and he suspected voter suppression tactics were at play. But he admits it would not have changed the outcome of the vote, which the Conservatives lost. A special rapporteur has found little evidence that foreign meddling changed the result of any election race. Shipping through the port of Baltimore is resuming as the cleanup from last week's deadly bridge collapse continues. CBC's Katie Simpson has gained exclusive Canadian access to the scene with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
When you get up close to the wreckage site, it really puts into perspective the scale and the scope of this catastrophe. We're maybe about 30 meters from the actual debris pile, the ship, the Dolly cargo ship, and the ongoing cleanup efforts, specially trained engineers who are using torches to shear through the metal debris as they try to cut up chunks of the wreckage into smaller, more manageable pieces so that they can be hauled away from this site in the ongoing effort to clean things up. Now, it's going to take quite some time to do. There's no real estimate as to when this site may be cleaned up. They have to move meticulously. They don't want to have an incident within an incident. There's concern that if they move too quickly, something could fall. There could be another collapse or something could move and put these crews in danger. Now, this is about as close as we can get right now. Divers are actually in the water. It's unusual because the weather has been so miserable. There's been so much rain, there's been thunder, there's been lightning, and it's made these already incredibly difficult cleanup efforts even more dangerous. So these crews, with weather and daylight permitting, are continuing to move the debris from the site. Now, there has been a little bit of encouraging news here. They have been able to get up 2 temporary channels opened up so that some of the ships can move in and out of the harbor. But for now, this is what normal looks like. Katie Simpson, CBC News in the Baltimore Harbor.
And Riley's back with one last look at our forecast.
Thanks, Ethan. We're looking at another warm day for southern sections of the province, at least. Starting the day tomorrow in Regina at 1. A partly cloudy sky. Winds do pick up as we get into the afternoon tomorrow. Southeast 30 gusting 50 by the time we hit late afternoon. 15 degrees the forecast high tomorrow. Contrasting that to Saskatoon, where, yes, we're starting the day with a bit of rainfall through the day tomorrow. 1 degree first thing in the morning, 3 by noon, winds northeast 20 gusting to 40, 30 gusting 50 by the time we hit the afternoon. And yes, only getting to a high of 4 degrees tomorrow afternoon. So some parts of the province, Ethan, definitely not getting as warm with some of that rainfall and potentially some of that snowfall. But southern sections can expect another warm day.
All right. Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
And finally tonight, it's been 6 years since the Humboldt Broncos bus crash, which killed 16 and injured 13 others. The youngest to die was 16-year-old Adam Harold. Soon after the crash, his family started a free hockey and leadership program for kids in rural communities. Adam's dad, Russ, spoke to us about his son's legacy.
Our coaches are constantly talking about life lessons. It's not just about hockey, it's all about life too.
We started the Adam Harold Legacy Foundation to continue all the things that Adam would have done in his life, to try and give back.
We've done 6 seasons of camps. Hard to believe it's been that long already, but 6 seasons of camps. So we've been to 19 communities across Saskatchewan. So well over 1,500 kids would have attended these camps. We offer much more than your traditional hockey school or hockey camp. Not to diminish the hockey side of it. We do offer high-level instructors. You know, the emphasis of the camp is leadership development.
You know, Adam Harold to me is the blueprint for not only what you want to see in young hockey players, but in young people in general.
We do ask the participants to do some volunteer activities in their community. We ask them to do at least minimum of 10 hours of volunteer service. You know, kids can become leaders in their own right, and that's sort of Adam's legacy. Like that, you know, he was a leader, and you can be a leader just like him. The rink used to be a big part of our life. You know, we were, you know, chasing Adam around to lots of rinks all over the place, and so it is tough at times seeing other kids out there, you know, taking part in the sport he loved, and you kind of envision your own kid. And some of these camps have been in communities where he did play in, so that all comes back, you know, as memories. But at the same time, just seeing kids, you know, come up to you and thank you for the camp after, or getting a note from a parent on how much this meant to their community, you know, and then, you know, you'll see some of the kids wearing, you know, clothing with Adam's logo on from the foundation, and it just, you know, you get a good feeling when you get those nice messages from some of the communities about, you know, how it had a positive impact in their community, or maybe perhaps for their family. So that helps in that way.
You gotta be a trustworthy person.
Adam, it sounds like you got your head on straight now.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, no problem.
Appreciate the interview.
No problem.
And applications for that camp are due this weekend if you are interested. That is it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can always head to our website, our YouTube channel, or download the CBC News app. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.